I caught my cheating wife when she claimed to be shopping, but I found her elsewhere. She said she was just going shopping. But what I found instead still echoes in my mind like a siren I can't shut off. I'm a 34-year-old guy from Colorado, married to my wife, Madison, for 7 years. We met in college, that kind of all-American love story you think will last forever. We were the stable couple among our friends, the ones who gave advice and hosted barbecues. Madison worked part-time at a local interior design studio, while I was an IT technician for the city. Our schedules were predictable, our routines were comforting, maybe a little too comforting. About 6 months ago, I started noticing changes. Madison suddenly cared a lot more about her appearance. She was buying new outfits, spending more time doing her makeup, and keeping her phone glued to her hand. At first, I brushed it off. I thought maybe she just wanted to feel confident again. She'd mentioned feeling stuck lately. But then came the strange behaviors. She started going shopping almost every Saturday afternoon, alone. She'd come back with 1 or 2 small bags, sometimes nothing at all, yet be gone for hours. When I'd ask, she'd say traffic was bad, or the lines were long. Something in my gut started screaming that something was wrong. It was a sunny Saturday in early May when the truth came knocking. Madison said she was heading out to check the spring sale at the outlet mall. I nodded, smiled, and kissed her goodbye. But about 30 minutes later, I realized she'd left her second phone charger plugged into the kitchen wall. That might sound trivial, but Madison never went anywhere without it. That's when an idea hit me. I grabbed my jacket, got in my car, and decided to follow her. Not out of pure suspicion, but because that gnawing feeling wouldn't shut up anymore. I drove toward the outlet mall she'd mentioned, but her car wasn't there. Not even close. I checked the nearby parking lots, texted her casually, "How's shopping going?" She replied 5 minutes later, "Crazy busy. I'll be home later than expected." Except the outlet mall parking lot was half empty. After 2 hours of driving aimlessly, I almost gave up. Then, as I was turning down a side road near a local brewery, I saw her car, parked behind a small rustic bar. My chest went cold. I parked a few spaces away, waited, and watched through the front window. And then I saw her, Madison, laughing, holding hands across the table with a man I'd never seen before. A tall guy in his late 30s, dressed neatly, confident, with that smug, "I know what I'm doing" look. They weren't talking like co-workers or friends. They were flirting. When he reached over and tucked her hair behind her ear, I swear time froze. I felt 1,000 emotions hit me at once: anger, heartbreak, disbelief. I didn't storm in right away. Instead, I took a deep breath, pulled out my phone, and took a few photos. Not out of revenge, but because I knew if I confronted her without proof, she'd lie her way out like she'd been doing for weeks. They left the bar about an hour later, laughing, arms wrapped around each other, and drove off together. Not toward home, toward a motel on the edge of town. That was the final nail. That night, when she came home, her hair was slightly messy, her perfume heavy enough to choke a room. She smiled like nothing had happened. "You wouldn't believe the lines at the outlet mall," she said, dropping an empty shopping bag on the counter. I looked at her calmly and said, "Yeah? Did the lines at the Barrel House bar get long too?" Her face turned white, completely drained of color. She stammered, "Wait, what are you talking about?" I showed her the photos, one after another. Her with the guy, her laughing. Her at the motel. She broke down crying, saying it was a mistake, that she didn't mean to fall for someone else. Apparently, the guy was a client from her design work, someone she'd connected with emotionally. That was the moment I realized something harsh but true. Love doesn't vanish in an instant. It's slowly suffocated by lies you don't confront early enough. I moved out the next day, filed for divorce a week later. She begged me to reconsider, said it was just a phase, that she'd been confused. But how do you go back to trusting someone who looked you in the eye that morning and said she was going shopping, only to check into a motel hours later? A few mutual friends took her side until they saw the proof. She lost the job. Apparently, workplace relationships were a violation of company policy. The guy, he ghosted her the moment things got complicated. It's been 4 months since the divorce was finalized. I'm slowly rebuilding. Therapy, gym, new routines, and a little peace of mind knowing I trusted my instincts. If you're reading this, wondering whether your gut feeling means anything, it does. It always does. Sometimes, love blinds us to red flags waving right in front of our face. Sometimes, going shopping means a whole lot more than it sounds.